Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. We're here today with special guest, Renee Innis, who's here to share with us Akin, her company dedicated to honoring family legacies through beautifully crafted designs. What if your family's history could be preserved in a stunning, tailor-made book for generations to come? Well, today's guest is here to share with us just that. With an extensive career in the areas of branding, publication, advertising, and a plethora of other design specialties, Renee Innis's passion for design continues to lead her down the most inspiring pathways. For more than a decade, she has insatiably researched her own ancestral history and several lineages with remarkable discoveries, some leading her to the 16th century and beyond. This culmination of creative problem-solving experience, a passion for genealogy, and an innate sensibility to tell a story inspired her to launch Akin in 2022. Akin offers thoughtful retrospectives in the form of tailored design books, memorabilia boxes, and many more timeless remembrances to commemorate family histories. So welcome to the show, Renee Innis.
Thank you so much, Marianne.
My goodness, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk about the work that you're doing. I've got to just dive right into this. What even inspired you to create this company?
Well, I have been designing for a very long time in the fields of publication, branding, logo, and identity work. Pretty extensive design career. But I also, in the last, about 12 years, became really passionate about genealogy. And I really couldn't stop researching my own ancestral line, which was really derived from a family farm that we have in Kansas. So I don't know, about 2021, I sort of have an epiphany, like I want to do something really different. And these are my two loves. So this is what I wanted to pursue. And I've loved every minute of it.
Well, I'm so glad that you've created this company because I got to tell you, and I've gone into my genealogy as well, and it's one thing to see it online, but another thing to have it in print and something that you could share with the family.
Yes, very much so. I mean, I can't emphasize enough how I feel this is such an important thing for families to share with one another because even though we may have a genealogist in our family and they're wonderful at tracking the facts, which can be a lot of information. It's really wonderful to have a printed piece that you can share with your family that is more of a visual narrative that really helps tie the stories together and gives you much more of a sense of your family and the history.
And very much a book.
Yes.
So how does this work? So if we're working on our genealogy, do we do it piece by piece with Akin? How does this all come together?
Well, everyone I work with is different. Some of them have done extensive research on their own. Some of them have a little bit of information but want to build on what they have. And some may not even know where to begin, but they know they want to tell a story or they want some research about questions that they may have. So I can really guide that process, whether you have a really extensive amount of research. I can help sort of prioritize how best to convey those stories and using, the images and records that support that. I can also fill in gaps. I love to do research and find things maybe that people hadn't already found. It really varies. It just kind of depends on what people are interested in learning more about at times.
I like how you help people, you guide them through this process because I think for a lot of people, it could feel very maybe overwhelming or intimidating.
Oh, very much so. I think it's a bit of a deterrent in what I do because there's this sense that it's a big undertaking, it's going to take a long time. Well, I've been doing design for a very long time, and a big part of that is problem solving and helping people navigate how best to work with the information that they have or how to obtain new information and incorporate that. So I'm very much schooled in that, and it's a big part of what I do and what I love to help people with.
Now, for folks that are at the very beginning of getting their family history together, what advice would you give them? Where should they start?
Oh my goodness. It really varies. I mean, obviously, there's some very popular websites out there. I would encourage people to start with, sites like Ancestry, Fold3, uh, Family Legacy. I mean, the list goes on. But the key is to try and find the most accurate information that you can. And if you need help with that, you could work with an independent genealogist or myself. It really depends kind of on where you are as well. A lot of communities have wonderful resources, historical societies, you name it.
So, can you help families with their own genealogy that it will kind of fit what they're looking for in creating a book?
Yes, very much so. So, a big part of my process is really talking with people about styles that they respond to, or things like color palette, or a lot of the imagery that we may have researched already or that they have in their own personal library may drive that a little bit. So I try to honor their own unique history as much as possible, but then I also propose other solutions that might appeal to them.
I was so impressed how Akin just guides people through this process. I mean, I'm not a designer, and if I had to take that on, I would probably just stop. But I love how you take this all off of everyone's plate so they can really focus on what's important to them.
Yes, very much so. I want people to feel really that they can bring something to me. I can show them some wonderful design directions on what they can do. And I can also organize that information for them in such a way that, is much more digestible and a good read, there's a really nice transition between if you're telling a multiple generational story, or if you're doing a memoir for someone, how to best really convey who people are and the stories behind them.
So, why don't you share with us all the products that you offer? Because I was just so impressed. I mean, not only do you can help families with the genealogy and building that family tree, but you also do custom boxes.
Yes, custom boxes really are ideally for to hold your book, but I also do what's called collections, where I design a very custom box. It's usually covered in book cloth and it's got printing on it. You have a wide variety of colors and fabrication styles to choose from, but that can house a book plus memorabilia. For example, I did one for my great grandfather, and it houses some of his, like he was an illustrator, so it holds examples of his illustrations as well as a timeline book about his life and his pocket watch, his ruler. So it's really things that are very important to families, and it's a beautiful way to share that with other family members.
And you can have it so that let's say we get one book compiled, people can go ahead and order like 10 or 15 of those so they can give those away as gifts to the family.
Sure. They can order as many as they like. I do use a digital printing process most of the time, although I can highly customize covers of the books. It's really open to what the client might want to do. I have a very extensive print background, so I know what those options are and how best to get people what they would really love to have. And then you brought up, other services that I offer, and that includes I do custom family trees, I do namesake note cards. Um, I really do quite a few different custom types of work.
You really do. You've brought together just this beautiful palette. I mean, I'm looking at all this. And one of the things I'm so interested in also, I've got many family members, they have tons of memorabilia. So, how should they start compiling those? What would you suggest?
Well, I actually would really like to recommend a partner that I work with, Artifacts. They are offering this really wonderful platform and service that allows you to document your memorabilia. And you can attach a timeline to it, you photograph it, you write about the history of that item. You can also, when you do sign up for a membership, you can share these with other family members and friends. It's just a really wonderful platform. I use it a lot myself, actually. And the thing that I'm doing specifically with artifacts is Akin offers printed books of your artifacts. So you can create a collection and send it to Akin, and we will print a book for you.
Well, on that note, we're going to pause here for a quick break. We've been speaking with Renee Innis in regards to her company, Akin. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Are you an author, speaker, or expert who is looking for more publicity? Visit radioguestlist.com and sign up for free interview requests from shows looking for guests. Radio Guest List is the #1 free booking resource for radio, podcasts, and TV talk shows who are looking for experts like you right now. Visit radioguestlist.com and sign up today to get the visibility you deserve.
There comes a moment when you realize you're somewhere special. When you discover that each beautiful creature that you see has been rescued from a life of absolute horror and brought to this incredibly free place. Here's where their lives were forever changed and where yours will as well. Discover over 500 tigers, bears, and lions at the brand new visitor center at the Wild Animal Sanctuary just outside Denver. For more information, visit wildanimalsanctuary.org. Discover true freedom at the Wild Animal Sanctuary.
It's one thing to become attached to your perfect home, but what do you do when that home becomes attached to you? A family in dire need of a fresh start, a mysterious house tied to the past. Buried deep within the foundation of the old Far Hill Manor lies a centuries-old secret. Dark forces or something stronger just waiting to be discovered. Caretaker, a supernatural thriller by breakout authors R.J. Halpert.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
I'd like to thank Jason Eastwood at Guitarfulness for sharing his inspiring music and talent with us. His music is known worldwide for cultivating atmospheres of harmony, inner peace, and clarity. Visit Jason's website at guitarfulness.com. Join his newsletter, be part of his community, and download his music. Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. We're here today with special guest, Renee Innis, who's sharing with us her company, Akin. So can you walk us through your creative process when you're working with a new client to create a personalized family history book? And I'm sure this is probably like the $1,000,000 question here, right?
Yeah. First step is usually I do a consultation. I usually have an initial free consultation with clients to really determine what they're aiming to do, sometimes people have a project in mind. They've been wanting to do it for years and they don't know how to go about it. So I'll have an initial meeting with them and establish a bit of a scope for the project, whether that does include more genealogy research or if it's simply taking research that they have and creating designing a book for them based on that. So I'll set some initial parameters within that, around that conversation. And from there, I will provide a proposal. I also talk with people about budget and what they feel comfortable with spending, how many copies they might want to order, things of that, more logistical things. And then from there, we go in stages. I really review the content that they have available, or I start doing the research that they need. And I present them with a bit of a summary of how I see the information being organized in the book. And once I've gotten their approval on that, or they're happy with that direction, then I will put it into a design format. And I usually present them with at least two, probably three design directions that they can take a look at. And then from there, it's really just finalizing the design, doing some copy editing where necessary. And then I take it once we've gotten the final, and we're all happy with that direction, then it goes to print, which is usually about a 2-week process. And then the books are delivered to your door.
That is so great how that all comes together and how you really orchestrate that. Because, I mean, that's a lot to bring together. And I could tell from the examples of the clients that you have worked with in the past that there's a lot of just passion that you have for this work.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's very personal for me, I have to admit. I mean, having done my own genealogy books and projects, I am very driven to create something beautiful and tell those stories because I love sharing my own family stories and I want to help others do the same. I feel that it's such an important part of our history and in some cases, our sense of place, which is actually what really inspired me to do Akin ultimately was that we have a 150-year-old farm that is still up and running. And I really dived into that history and I wanted ways to share that with people. So I created a book about that.
So, how would you say your design background has really shaped the way you approach storytelling and genealogy at Akin?
Well, I mean, to me, they're all it's all interwoven because of how I work, my skill set and just my creativity is one of I love combining design with storytelling. And I always have to a degree. I've done it more on a personal level, and now I'm making it, a service that I want to offer to others. And I love being able to have a wonderful story and the visuals that support that, especially when it comes to old family photos or old records that really support those stories.
Well, I think that's so empowering. Can you share a client with us? I mean, I'm looking right now at the Curtis collection, and the custom box that was made encapsulates so much more than the book itself. It's stunning.
Yeah, that's actually the box that I mentioned earlier. That is my great grandfather's that I created. So that was a very personal project for me. And I have so many works of his. He was an amazing illustrator, and I wanted a way to really cherish and preserve those. So I created a book of his illustrations and put it in there. Another example, though, would be a client. You probably see the book on the website. It is a woman from Nova Scotia who's done extensive research on her Scottish ancestry, and she's been researching for many, many, many years. And she came to Akin wanting to take all of her research and create a book of multiple generations and lines. And I mean, to be fair, she's an amazing writer, so she made that part of things really easy. um, but she also, didn't have a ton of images and photography. So I was really able to do a lot of that sourcing and incorporate that in the book. And there's also a couple of family trees in there that were created to really demonstrate who the people are in the book and how the relationship to those trees through those stories.
It's so remarkably done and so well put together. Your work is just astounding, and I think it would be something that families would actually pass on to other family members.
Oh, yeah, I certainly hope so. That's what I'm aiming to do. I do it in my own family, and I really encourage people, and especially when I'm talking with people who are so already immersed in genealogy, and encouraging them and saying, "Please let me design a book for you, because otherwise it's just living on your computer."
Oh my gosh. I understand that. And it's sometimes I don't want to see it on my computer. And I was
Yes.
looking at that because it's like you look at the family tree, it takes forever to expand it. And there are lots of negatives there while there's some positives. I mean, how do you envision Akin evolving and expanding to continue helping families preserve their legacy?
Well, I am a small design studio, and I love working with people one on one, and I like to take my time with projects. Um, but that's not to say that I don't like working on multiple projects at once, because I get so much, it's so fulfilling for me. I don't know that I would say I want to expand so much. It's just that I want to be able to work with as many families as I can.
Well, you're doing such a remarkable job with that. For folks that want to connect with you and learn more about your work, where should they go?
So they can visit my website, which is akin.house. That's AKIN dot house, as opposed to .com. They can also follow me on Instagram at Akin House and Facebook at Akin. And I can be reached via email at welcome@akin.house.
Well, Renee, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, and I'm thrilled to have had this conversation with you.
Well, thank you, Renee. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your company, Akin. Make sure to visit her website at akin.com. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.